Well, hello YouTubers, and welcome back to the Holtzmichel channel and another episode of Trabbi und me. We're going to be giving this episode out in German as well because, after all, the majority of trabant owners are still in Germany and parts of Czechoslovakia, or the Czech Republic I should say, Poland and Hungary. And so this episode is probably more pertinent to them because the least amount of people are going to know what a trabant is and what its perks what its quirks are. Now in today's episode we're going to be making a drill guide for the cylinder head. Now this will apply to you folks out there doing work on snowmobiles, four-wheelers and motorcycles and that kind of stuff as well, because you're going to end up at some point probably running into the same problem. And the problem is with the trabant right now, I pulled two studs loose again. Of course they were kind of weak to start with. When I bought the car, somebody had put bolts in. They took the studs out and put bolts in, and then they over-torqued the bolts at one point and kind of weakened the threads. The head is, of course, the head is aluminum, and so is the cylinder itself with the cast iron sleeve in it. And so now we got to go back and put one of these inserts in there. This is a M14 by 1.5 millimeter thread, and so it takes kind of a special size of tap to do that. But nevertheless, we're going to make this this guide here. As you can see, it's already finished, but we're going to go through the steps here on the lathe and the mill in making this, so that folks who are interested in the process can follow along and do the same thing with either their snowmobile, four-wheeler, or what have you, so that you don't have to actually go back and pull the entire engine apart to replace a stud. So anyway, that's where we're going with this today. So the biggest part that we have to watch out for in this is that our distance between the holes it's 70 millimeters. So we don't really have to make sure that, you know, this thing has to be centered or whatever. You can, you know, set it in there however you want to. The main thing is just to find a hole and then start it, and then make sure that your other holes are at exactly 70 millimeter distance. That's the most important thing. The hole diameter will be 10.5 millimeters over corner, and then over corner here to here will be a little different because we're going to be making a thread gauge on one side and a drill gauge on the other side. We're going to be drilling out a bigger hole over here than we are over here, but we'll get to that as we approach that. But for now, we're just going to go to the northeast corner here, and this is, you know, where we're going to start. So we're going to start it with our spotting drill here, and then go ahead and drill it through, and you know, move our table 70 millimeters in each direction. So let's get going. Don't forget to lock your table. Set everything to 0. Speed this will go. So this piece of tool steel, we're going to pre-drill it with a 4 millimeter drill. The final drill diameter is going to be a 10.5 millimeter because our stud is an M10, which is a 10 millimeter diameter. And so we're going to have a little bit of play in the thing so that you know, we don't run into any problems. Our second hole over here, we're going to just pre-drill it, and then we'll have to go to a larger drill. I'm thinking the 12.5. So let's get going here. Now we're into the 10.5 millimeter drill here. We're going to slow down the speed down to 550 RPMs. We had it up to 1500 with the pre-drill. You know, the smaller drills, you got to turn them a little faster, but the bigger drills, you got to slow them down, especially in this hard material. Otherwise, you burn up the drill. Now we're going to move our table forward by 70 millimeters to establish our next hole. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 55, 60, 65. So now we moved our table ahead 70 millimeters. We're going to, you know, you want to make sure on the dial that you get it exactly because you really got, this is one part of the operation where accuracy is a must, and so you can take a coarse measurement to make sure that you're in the ballpark, you know, in which case here we want 70 millimeters. We've established it on the dial that we have 70 millimeters, and this is just kind of a double check to see if we're in the ballpark or not. So now we just sped up the spindle speed, and we're off again like a turd of hurdles. Let's see here, we gotta have enough, yeah. So this hole here is going to wind up being a little bigger. This is going to be for an M16 thread. We've got our drill guide here, and so our drill guide is going to go in over here, and this is our tap guide over here. So we've got an M16 thread cut onto this part of it, and so we're just going to cut a bigger hole. So. So now we got our M16 thread cut here. For an M16, you need a 14 millimeter drill. This is an M16 by 2, so it takes the 2 millimeter smaller drill, which is an a 14 millimeter drill. And see there, our thread fits. Now this is going to be a guide for the tap as it goes into the bore hole. First, we're going to bore it. You know, we're going to stick our guide on top of the cylinder head and screw it down with 2 wing nuts in opposition to one another so that the thing doesn't tip up to one side or the other, and drill our hole and then turn it around 180 degrees and then cut our thread and then put our insert in. And so this is going to be a guide for the insert and for the tap. And if it runs in a little rough, yeah, it doesn't really matter, because the tap will be going in and out of this thing sooner or later, you know, multiple times, and so, you know, the thread will get chased, you know, quite a bit, and we're only looking for an accurate hole in the cylinder head for the insert to go into.
ist ja geil.
Ich brauche eine Lachscheibe drin.
Ja, das ist halt nur eine Sache, ne, wenn man selber sowas machen kann.
Ja, wenn man keine Werkzeugmaschine hat, dann ist das ein bisschen schwierig. Ne?
Ja.
Zum Glück kann ich die Fräse und kann so Sachen selber auffertigen. Jetzt muss ich auch noch ein bisschen zentrieren.
Jetzt musst du bohren, dann schneidest du die Gewinde rein.
Genau, und du drehst gerade rum, dass das Loch dann da drüber ist, weil da ist die Führung fürs Gewinde.
Aha. Das ist aber nur auf einer Seite. An dem Zylinder.
Und dem da.
Und dem auch?
Ja,
Passiert sowas?
ja, die haben irgendwann im Leben von dem Fahrzeug die Stehbolzen rausgenommen und schrauben es jetzt. Und dann sind natürlich die Schrauben irgendwann über so. Und das ist ja Aluminium und das beträgt mehrmalige Schraube andrehen und losmachen, vertraut es nicht.
Aha.
Kannst du vielleicht einmal machen und dann ist es vorbei.
Okay.
Ein bisschen schneller. Na, Sauhund. Der krabbt einfach. Ja, das Schöne ist an dem Ding, das ist halt nicht kompliziert. Ne?
Wie meinst du das?
Ja, das ist relativ einfach. Well, YouTubers, that's a wrap for this episode of Trabbi und me. I hope you were able to glean a little bit of useful information out of this episode and be able to apply it to a project of your own. I realize, again, you know, the technical details here aren't really all that relevant for a lot of folks who don't own a trabant or any kind of vehicle like it, but nevertheless, this is a process that you can use for just about any kind of engine where you have to replace a stud, drill out the hole, and you can do it by hand with a relative degree of accuracy without getting the stud in crooked. Unfortunately, the one stud that I did already when in the head gasket maintenance episode, I drilled it slightly off, just a tick off, and so I had to file out the hole a little bit on one side of the head in order, the cylinder head, so that the thing would go on. And this hopefully will prevent that. So anyway, if you have any thoughts, comments, critiques, suggestions, or ideas, by all means, have at it to your heart's content in the comment section below. It's always good to have a little feedback from the viewers. If you don't like the video, again, give me some feedback. There's always going to be some issue that some folks might have. I've gotten a lot of good feedback, even though some people gave the video a thumbs down. It's always good to get that feedback from the viewers so that we can improve a little bit on the videos as the channel grows. For those of you who are new to the channel, please don't forget to rate, comment, and subscribe. If you have it in your heart to help support the channel in any way, in a meaningful way, all I ask of you is to go ahead and allow the ads to play. I recently monetized. I really didn't want to. It's just something I had to do. I've got a project that I've got to get done, and so I've thought this would be one way to accelerate the pace at which the progress is proceeding. So with that, please allow the ads to play to kind of support the channel. And with that, thanks for stopping by and thanks for watching, and we'll hope to see you all again very soon.